appoint one of y'all to do this. You ready? Okay, welcome this afternoon to SpectraCare staff, to Warehouse United Way employees and staff, and to our loaned executives. If you're a loaned executive, raise your hand. All right, thank you so much. This is why we're here this afternoon. For those of you who've never participated in one of these events, we've been asked and honored many years by Warehouse United Way to get to do the kind of the spin-off for their loan executives, to show the new loan executives how a campaign for United Way, Warehouse United Way works in our area. And so we do that as a pace setter. We are an agency that benefits greatly from the Warehouse United Way. We love our partnership with them, and then by your work that you do out there as loan executives in the community to help raise funds for United Way. So we are just doing this as our kickoff for our campaign, and then we'll take it further into our organization, which covers 5 counties. And our goal is always to get 100% participation from our employees. From the top down, we really believe to whom much is given, much is required. And what I feel like is that if we're gonna be the recipients of the dollars that everybody gets out here and works to get, then we should also be participating in that, because it's not just about our agency, but about all the other agencies that benefit really well from United Way dollars. So today, I'm gonna turn it over to Chris, who's gonna come and talk to you a little bit about this, and then we've got a small agenda for you to show you how this gets rolled out. Chris.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Melissa. And like she said, my name's Chris Etheridge. I work with the fire department here in Dothan, and I've been a loan executive for several years, 2 or 3 or 12 maybe. But it's a lot of fun to get out and visit with other agencies, and kind of what a loan executive does. I tell everybody I'm heavy on the loan, short on the executive. I just show up and talk about United Way at various meetings and share what we do at the city and try to help other agencies, other businesses to improve their campaigns or to kick off their campaigns or whatever. So I'm blessed to be able to do this. The city allows me some time to do this. Major Will Glover's in the back. He was a loan executive the last couple of years and has also been afforded the opportunity by the city to go out and share what we do. Not because we do it better than anybody or anything of that nature, just because we enjoy it, we love it, and we've found things that work well, that may work in your business. So one of those things that we do that's particularly interesting is we have 16 departments in the city. So each department, roughly 1,000 employees. So each department, we have a department campaigner. That's the chair for that department. So like I do the fire department, and Major Glover does the police department. There's somebody in water, so on and so forth. So we kind of divide it up to make it better. So I can't see all 1,000 employees. So now with SpectraCare this year, the reason you're here is you're the United Way ambassador for a certain particular part of the workforce here at SpectraCare. So that's our goal, is to say, all right, we're gonna divide this up, make it a little more personal. Melissa can't go see everybody, Miss Debbie can't go see everybody, but you can have a personalized type meeting in your office, in your house, in your home, in your house, whatever your responsibility is on the list. So what the kickoff is about is just to give you some information to show what United Way does. If you understand it and you have assistance by asking for a loan executive, we do recommend that you have a guest speaker at every of your meetings. It's easy to say we know what SpectraCare does. We're a big benefactor from United Way as one of the 37 partner agencies, but what about other agencies? You know, at one time I went to the food bank, which is the Wiregrass Area Food Bank, is one of the 37 partner agencies. And I believe it was 23 partner agencies of the United Way purchased food from the food bank. 211 is a United Way partner agency. They refer to all of these social services type organizations, so it creates this web. And I like to tell people, I would love to give fair share. What is fair share? Fair share is 1 hour's pay per month. So if you get paid, I don't remember how y'all get paid.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. So you get paid 26 times a year. So it's actually not quite half an hour's pay per pay period. So you take your pay, your hourly pay, times 12 months, divided by 26 pay periods, and that's how much it would be. I would love to give fair share to a lot of agencies, maybe even 34, 35, 30, all of them. They're all great, they're all vetted, they're all audited, and if they're not a partner agency. But I can't, we all have our limits. What's right for you is different for me, and that's why we call it fair share. is your hourly rate's different than mine, it's different than yours, it's different than yours. So we can all do that and help these agencies. One thing that I like to tell people is you can't give to the Red Cross and to the Salvation Army and to SpectraCare and to Wiregrass Angel House, but you can give to United Way. And people just like me and you, and I've done it for years, sit on a committee. It's called the Funds Distribution Committee. There's 4 focus areas in the United Way. Those are helping you succeed, serving those with special needs, meeting basic needs, and strengthening families. Each one of those has 2 volunteers from each of the 6 counties that the Wiregrass United Way serves. So there's 12 volunteers on this committee, just like me and you, that donate to United Way. And we go out, I always do serving those with special needs. And we go and we visit with Miss Melissa and Vaughn Bloomberg and Vivian B. Adams and AIDB. And we ask those hard questions. Why is your budget going up in salaries? Why is your budget having to go down? Vivian B. Adams several years ago, this will make sense to a lot of folks in here, they stopped tracking by half days attendance in the program, and they went every 15 minutes. Well, when they started really tracking that, they lost a lot of state funding and they had to eliminate a position. And their executive director had to sit and explain that. Explain why somebody's getting raises, why are we adding positions? I'll talk about a challenge grant, but why do you need a new vehicle? Have 23 buses, am I right?
Oh, if I have.
30 something now,
Eddie
right?
can tell us, it's a lot.
How many buses are in the fleet now?
Eddie?
56 buses in this fleet for SpectraCare. Can you replace all of them in 1 year? No, you have to have a plan. What happens when bus 23 is supposed to be replaced in 2026 and it broke today? How do you do that? Well, that's an opportunity through United Way's challenge grants from the Wiregrass Foundation. We'll talk about that in a minute. Is you apply for that and we evaluate that too. So what am I saying? Get to the point, Etheridge. It's Josie and Walter and Mindy and the 5 staff at the United Way don't make the decision of how much money SpectraCare gets. Volunteers do. So if you donate, you can volunteer. You can sit on that committee and say, I wish we could give everybody every penny they ask for, but you can't. And it doesn't matter if you take Walter to lunch or you buy Josie's baby a nice present, you're not getting more money. It's based on what the committee sees when we visit your facility. So I've had people in the city specifically to tell me in the past, if I had known that people would, like me and you, go and make that decision, I would have been given for the last 20 years. But people just don't know. So that's something that's important to me, and I want to share with the new loan executives is know how the funds are distributed. It's, if you give, your dollar's taken care of. When I started, there were 43 partner agencies. Now there's 37. Some closed during COVID, some didn't do the right paperwork, some didn't get audited properly, whatever the case is. But the point is, if you're not doing the right things, you're not gonna remain a partner agency. And we're not gonna give your money to those agencies. So, important to know that. One thing that I always hear from time to time at meetings is I don't give to United Way because they support blah, blah, blah. Whatever, political, religious, whatever. 37 agencies on this pamphlet you're gonna get. If they're not listed here, they don't get a penny from United Way. Funds Distribution Committee cannot give them money. 1 cent out of every dollar goes to National United Way for the use of the name, the logo, and the Sunday afternoon when the NFL player runs up, says, Live United, Walter could afford that. That's where that money goes. Right? So National United Way actually does not fund any agency. Only the locals do that. And that's those 37 partner agencies over 6 counties. So when you give, that's what you're giving to. It's that simple. So, you're gonna get a form in a few minutes and we'll talk about it. One thing that we do at the city that's been very successful, and it's been successful here, is doing incentives. If you give something, if you give fair share, those things change. At the city, if you do fair share, you get 4 hours paid time off from the city. And then we draw out of those for 75 people, get a day off, which is 8 hours. it's not always a day. Firemen work 24 hours. Most police officers work 12, but they get 8. But if you do that, you give fair share, you get 4 hours, and you go in a drawing for 8 additional hours. So you get 12 hours off for giving how many hours? 12 hours. So you break even. And you get a fair share card. I don't see a flyer, but it's like the little discount cards that you use at stores. And you got your gun on, sir? Yeah, I'm gonna say it anyway. You can get a free dozen donuts if you're a fair share. So that's, PD always shares more money does because they get donuts. It's not true. It's not true. I just did it because he's, but Krispy Kreme, there's oil changes, discounts on oil changes, Beef O'Brady's usually is on there. So lots of different restaurants that you can use this for the year. So, and you get that as well as a fair share giver. So on your form is very simple. Yours already has your name on it, and your packet, I'm guessing you're gonna go over this? But your packet has everybody that you're responsible for, and it already has their name on it and their information. So that's, you wanna fill out at the top. If you wanna do fair share, it's real simple. You mark fair share, sign it, and date it. Important to date it so your payroll clerk knows what year this is for, because we don't date our forms. We use them over and over and over. We don't throw stuff away. So just mark fair share, and they'll fill in your hourly pay and your total and send you back the pink copy so that you have that for your taxes. It is a tax deductible donation. If you want to do per pay period, that's over toward the right-hand side of the paper. You'll fill that in times 26. If you want to do $1 a pay period, times 26, your annual giving is $26. So on and so forth. 5's 130. That's about as high as I can go with math with my shoes on. Now, I mentioned the 37 partner agencies that are in the pamphlet. If you wanted to designate your gift, so you do $5 a pay period, that's $130 for the year. As long as it's $50 or more, you can designate which agency that goes to. So you would, over on the far right, you write in Angel House, $50 or $130 or whatever your donation is. When we get to the funds distribution meeting, there's a number on the screen, and it says there's X amount of dollars available for these 7 agencies. But this number has been designated. So you said, I want my $130 to go to SpectraCare. That's in that column. We can't give less than that. I think one time I was at a meeting and someone requested, I don't remember the exact numbers, but we'll say they requested $10,000 and they had $11,000 designated. They got more than they asked for because you said that you wanted your money to go to them. So you can designate. You can't say, I don't want my money to go somewhere, but you can designate where you do want it to go. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna bring up what we call an agency speaker. Anytime we do a meeting, we try to have somebody to come in and talk about how much United Way means to them, what your dollar means to them. Like I said, this is unique because you see it firsthand. But to put a different spin on it, Katie Lewis from Wiregrass Angel House is here, and we're gonna ask her to come up and just share what happens if there is not United Way. What if you don't get funds from United Way, and how do you use what you do? I'll go back to House of Ruth. Several years ago, filled out a grant application, and it said, what would you do if you didn't get this grant funding opportunity? And she said, close our doors. So there's a lot of agencies that way. But to know specifically how your dollar impacts people, Katie, come on up. We're gonna get Katie to come up, talk just a few minutes about that. I'll answer any questions, and then I'll turn it back over to the boss. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, so I do a new speech every year, so I'm just gonna sit it right here. I'm trying not to look at it. But y'all can dock me in points for that one. So, hey everybody, just like he said, I'm Katie Lewis. I'm with Wiregrass Angel House. I see some familiar faces out here. That's always good. How many of you in here have heard of Wiregrass Angel House? That is so many more than it usually is. Thank y'all. Now, how many of y'all actually know what we do? I'll take that. That's good enough. So for those of you who don't, we are a nonprofit based here in Dothan that advocates for and assists victims of violent crime. And that is rape, robbery, assault, and homicide. We operate in 8 counties here in the Wiregrass area. I always get them mixed up, so I have to count them out. So it is Barber, Bullock, Coffee, Dale, Geneva, Henry, Houston, and Pike. And what we do is we offer just like a wide variety of free direct services. So the main things that we do are crime scene and suicide cleanup. I know a lot of people probably don't know, but if one of your loved ones is murdered, the police don't clean it up. That's not their job. The landlord doesn't come in and clean it up. You have to clean it up. So after you've been through all of that stuff with losing your loved one, the police showing up at your door and telling you that somebody's not coming home tonight, you have to go over there and clean all that up. So we step in and we facilitate that for you, 100% for free. And we have a dog therapy program, which Mandy, who is our sweet baby dog, she likes to think that she's the actual star of Angel House. She's not, I am. She's a lot cuter than me anyway. But she and her handler go around to organizations and businesses, area schools, nursing homes, and they do presentations. And it's kind of just we're hoping that these children and these adults don't ever need Mandy, but in case they do, they can see her, they're comfortable with her. She sits in on forensic interviews. She goes on the stand with children who have witnessed a crime or have had a crime committed against them, and just offers them a little more comfort. So we do have that. We have a court assistant who goes to court with all of our survivors and victims. And we have a therapist that is on staff at Angel House, and he does one-on-one counseling and group therapy sessions. So that's just a little bit of what we do. Our list is like legit this long. So in 2004, when we opened our doors, we were in the Dothan City Jail. Now we have our own standalone lot thanks to United Way. We have gone to hundreds of crime scenes. There have been thousands of hours of court proceedings that we've attended. What we do is kind of a catch-22. And when I say that, I mean, people don't understand the importance of victims advocacy until you actually become a victim of a violent crime, which is a great thing. When people say, I don't know Angel House, what do y'all even do? Are y'all Angel of Hope? Are you House of Ruth? I welcome that. I'm like, oh, thank God, yes, because you don't want to see us. These families meet us on the worst day of their lives. I mean, and you know, they still have to live, and every time they see us, they relive that. And that is why we have a counselor. That is why we have a court assistant. That is why we have somebody on call. That's why we work with the police office and the district attorney's office. We've been out to arsons before with the fire department. I mean, there are many things that we do. They call, we show up. So at the end of the day, this is a club that no one wants to be a part of. No one deserves to be a part of this club, and we shouldn't even exist. Like, I would absolutely love to stand up here and be like, oh, 105 North Bell Street, we just hang out, we drink coffee, we tell jokes, we listen to podcasts, but that's not the world we live in. The reality of everything is that there will be so many other families that see our faces. And even just this year, that'll see our faces and meet us. Violent crime does not affect just one race, one gender. It does not specifically target one social class. It doesn't care what time of the day it is or who you are. It can happen to anybody. I bet if we went around the room right now and I said, okay, do you know somebody personally that has been affected by violent crime or suicide? Every one of you could think of at least one person. I can think of over 300 people. And that's just homicides. So I can stand up here and tell you 100 stories of crime scenes I've been to, families that I've worked with, but I'm gonna tell you one. And it is of Xavier Thomas. He was murdered on May 27th, 2017 in Brundage, Alabama. He had pulled up to an apartment complex with his friend. They were actually delivering a TV to one of his friends who had graduated. And they were just sitting there talking, hanging out, whatever, just pulled up. 30 seconds later, a car pulls up beside him, opens fire. Later that day, his mother, Chiquisha, had to hear news that nobody wants to hear. I'm sorry, ma'am, your son's been murdered. So every year at Angel House, We have a National Day of Remembrance on September 25th. Everybody gets these books. And throughout the year, we collect little passages from people, see the pictures, and these are family members that have sent in things. We have a speaker, and every year, we add more pages to this book. I'm sure a lot of you have seen, driving down Main Street in September, all the white crosses. That is Angel House. Every single one of those crosses represents a victim who has lost their life from homicide. We have over 300 this year. Last year we had so many pictures we didn't have enough crosses for them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to read Shakisha's excerpt from this book. I mean, I can tell you stories. I can tell you everything that I've been through here at Angel House in my 3.5 years, but this is so much more. To my beloved son, Xavier, I never thought I would ever have to live my life without you. My heart is shattered into a million pieces now that you're no longer with me. I miss our talks, laughs, jokes, arguments, silly moments, prayers, trips together, and you asking me a lot of questions about life. We've had good times, sad times, happy times, and bad times. And I wouldn't trade any of it for anything in this world. I've enjoyed every single day of our mother and son bonding. I wish that I could have just one more talk, laugh, cry, hug, or see you later with you. I think of you every second, minute, and hour of each day. I wish I could start our love story again. Just to see you take your first breath, hold you in my arms, hear your first cry, say mama, take your first walk, see you play football, hear you play, teach, and fight with your sisters and brothers again. But I can't. So I will forever hold you in my heart, mind, and soul with memories we shared. Until we meet again, I love you, my Zay. One of the biggest reasons that we are able to give these families voices at Angel House is because of you and the donations that you give. Like I said, we meet these people on the worst day of their lives. And I know you think, oh, an hour of pay a month, that's not a big deal. That's not, I can live without that. It is a huge deal to us. It's a huge deal to the families that we serve. You are giving hope to the hopeless, and you're helping to heal hearts that have been absolutely broken by suicide and homicide. So your fair share, you're changing lives. And from us at Angel House and from all the families that we serve, thank you so much.
So there's hundreds of those. Katie said 300 that she can think of, but that's 300 times 37 different agencies. And everybody has a why. Several years ago, one thing that United Way does, our United Way does, that a lot across the state and across the country do not do, is we have a video each year. It's done for free, but several years ago there was one, and it was basically the theme was everybody's dealing with something. You never know what the person sitting beside you at church, sitting behind you at Outback, or whatever the case is, you never know what they're dealing with. So that fair share is minimal to us. If you think about it, it's maybe one day going out to eat, or just a dessert that you left off one time. But it's huge to these agencies. And everybody has that why, something they're dealing with. I'm gonna tell you briefly, I don't always do this, but I started this back many years ago. And I started giving to United Way. I've been with the city for 29.5 years. And I guess I've always given to United Way. And I've told Melissa before, Mom told me when I was this tall, do good things. This was an easy good thing. I could just mark a box and give $1, give $5, whatever the case is, to United Way. And I know my money's taken care of. So about 7, 8 years ago now, my older brother, he was 45 at the time, 46, calls and says, his wife called me and said that he was going to the hospital, he was having some pain in his neck and his arm and so on, and he said, just meet me at the hospital. Chris said, if your chest hurts, your arm, it might be your heart, I need to go get it checked out. Within about 3 hours, he was paralyzed from the neck down, and nobody could figure out why. They sent him to Birmingham, or Atlanta. Long story short, about 18 months later, he was back home in a power wheelchair. He could move his arms a little, but no real dexterity. And a long way to get to that, but he called me one day and he's like, hey, I found this van. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, it's on eBay. And I'm like, dude, you don't buy vans on eBay. You buy a car on eBay. And he's like, it's a Toyota Dothan. And it's set up for my wheelchair. I mean, it was just like this, like the clouds opened up. And so I go over there and look at it. And we ended up buying this van with some state assistance from ARDS and ADRS, whatever it is. Anyway, so fast forward a month or two, my son was in high school and he was staying with Uncle Brian during the summer, helping him with some physical therapy type stuff. And also one day he sends me a video and it looked like a spaceship. The accelerator is a big handle. Forward is brakes, back is gas. It's got this plate on it with like 3 little knobs and his hand would fit in that. That's how you turn the steering wheel. So Brian's driving, right? Beautiful paved parking lot. So I texted AJ, my son, back and I said, hey, where are y'all at? And he said, we're at WRC in this big new parking lot down here by the warehouse. And I thought, did my dollars pay for that? They're a United Way agency. And I tell you, I gave to United Way for 29 years, not because I need it, because I don't need it. My family ain't gonna need it. We don't, we good. And then my brother's driving in a parking lot that maybe United Way dollars help repave that parking lot so that they can do things like that. And I say all of that to say, everybody has a why. Everybody's dealing with something, whether it's helping victims of crime and how you find that passion to, I just did it because it was easy. And then it became very personal, very quickly, for me and for my family. So, having said that, I would say, if you've given in the past, thank you. And I promise you, it's been appreciated and taken care of very well. If you've not, I would ask that you consider giving this year as the first time. I know Melissa told y'all that the goal here at SpectraCare is 100% participation, whatever that is for you. My goal is everybody has an opportunity. What you do is what's right for you. So I'm going to ask Jalen to come up and explain y'all's campaign. I'm going to get out of the way, but there are incentives. If you give today, if you give a lot, if you give till it hurts, they're all better, right? Yeah. So come on up, explain your campaign. Thank you all for your time. I'll hang around for a little bit. If you have any questions about United Way or how your dollars are taken care of, I will be here to answer them. Josie's here. And just thank you for your time, and it's yours.
Okay, so I'm Jalen. I am a school-based therapist for Houston County and working with prevention during the summer. Normally Maria was going to be up here, but I'm not a Maria, okay? I'm a notch lower than Maria, but we're still going to have fun, and you're going to love these incentives, okay? I try not to talk with the paper in my hand, but there's a lot this year, and they're crazy, just like these glasses. I won't take them off so I can't see. So, if your location gives $1 or more, okay, $1 or more, that will go towards your 100% of everybody location. Each employee, are you ready for this? Will receive a $15 gift card to Chick-fil-A. Last year it was 10, now it's 15. So, that's not a chicken nugget. So if an employee is given $10 or more, they will receive a 15 Walmart gift card and will be entered into the drawing for 25 gift cards. That would be Amazon, Walmart, Publix, all for $50 each. Yay. So now the fair share givers, they will receive a 15 Chick-fil-A gift card if their location has reached 100%. But not only that, a $15 gift card to Walmart, entry into the drawing, fourth gift card drawing. Did I say that correctly? Fourth? That was like fourth A, but a fair share card, which is what Mr. Eldridge was talking about earlier. One personal day. We could all use a personal day. Reward yourself. That will begin January 2024. And then an entry into the drawing for the grand prize drawing. Okay, so that's just for the fair share. The gift card drawing will be an Amazon, Walmart, and Publix gift card, okay? At Amazon, it will be 10 cards at $50 each. You know how much you can get on Amazon with that? Walmart will be, there's 10 cards given out for $50 each. And then Publix, 5 cards at $50 each still. Now the grand prize drawing would be 2 $50 cash winners, 2 $100 cash winners, 2 $150 cash winners, 2 $200 cash winners, and $350 for cash. Participate and get that 100%. I know I enjoy my gift card that I get every year, but that's a teamwork. And I know the team really enjoys getting that too, but that's just a reward on top of the reward of why you give anyways. So.
Thank you. Before you leave, we'll pass out the incentives on the sheet, but we've got a different, a new incentive this year. Chris alluded to it by talking about what the city does, and we had no idea the city did this. But we have selected ambassadors for our Wiregrass internal campaign. This is our kickoff for the ambassadors, senior managers, executive staff, and a few others. But we want to kick off in every location. We want every location to get excited. We want every location to get the passion and the burn to want to give to United Way. So our ambassadors, and let me tell you who they are, and if I call your name, just stand up where we can, everybody can see who they are. We got Dee Dee Lewis, Robbie Treadwell, I don't think then Katrina Newman, Angie Gore, Rosetta Culver, Maria King, she's out sick today, Jay Lewis, and Jessica Hall. And I think I called everybody. But what we've done, we have divided our locations up between these ambassadors. They will go within the next month, by August the 10th, they will go and hold meetings with these locations. They're gonna go in there and they're gonna be so excited. They're gonna talk about United Way. Today, with the speaker and all, we've got that video, so they'll have access to that. But they got an incentive to offer in addition to these others. Every year, we're pulling teeth to get these pledge forms in. But this year, these ambassadors gonna pump it up that everybody that completes their pledge form the day of the meeting and gets it turned in, they receive a choice of 8 hours pay or 8 hours leave. And that, wow. I mean, if that's not an incentive, this is I mean, everybody gets it, but they have to turn it in the day of the meeting. Now, we're gonna give a little bit of leeway for these residential homes, cause they have shifts, so we're gonna give them until their next scheduled shift. But other than that, I think we should see a lot of pledge forms coming in the next few weeks. In saying that, we've got pledge forms for all of y'all, and we're gonna get those filled out, please, today. And I'm gonna ask the ambassadors to stay, and we'll give you some pointers and all, but we're so glad to have United Way with us today. We get excited about this every year. So we've got refreshments. Please, please get something to eat, drink on your way out. But those of you that are ambassadors, please stay. But everybody don't leave until you get your form and fill it out. Come on, Chris.
Two things that
Okay.
I always stand in the back and think of things I didn't say. So number one is, this is next year's campaign. So as a
Yes.
pace setter, SpectraCare, just like with the city, we have about 100 pace setter agencies that start early and set the pace for the campaign. So if you give $1 today and you change that on your form today, then that does not take effect until the first pay period of 24. So that's something you'll want to remember, is that it won't change today. If you start giving or stop giving or change giving, that changes the first pay period of 24. And then I made a comment earlier, and I want to touch on it because it's very important to us. I talked about the challenge grant. What your normal, regular, if you will, donation to and pledge to United Way is operating type expenses. You can use it for power bills and maintenance on vehicles and whatever. But when, not if, but when the United Way, all 6 counties, meet our goal, the Wiregrass Foundation has pledged $400,000 on top of our goal to capital projects. So when you need that new bus, because it's not planned for this year, or the Boys and Girls Club is tired of putting out 5-gallon buckets in the gym to catch rain, they need a new roof, those one-time expenses can be covered with those types of things. And again, the Funds Distribution Committee reviews all of those and makes a recommendation on all of that. So that's 2 important things that I wanted to mention, was that it's next year's campaign. Don't forget every penny. If you think that, Katie said it, if you think your fair share or your $5 is not important, year before last, the United Way, 6 counties made goal by $360. That's one of y'all, 2 of y'all, that if you hadn't have given, we would not have made goal, and we'd have lost the $400,000 from the Wiregrass Foundation. So every dollar, every pay period counts. So thank y'all for your time. I think we're gonna get out of here and let Miss Debbie do the rest, but get your forms. And I want a form, because I need 8 hours. We were talking about what y'all want to give here. I'm not giving it to the city this year, I'm giving it
We
here.
got openings.
Awesome, thank y'all. Thank you.
Okay, y'all get your forms, fill them out, get you some refreshments, like you said, the committee hang around.